Hi, how are you,
I'm
Ekene?
good. I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so happy you managed to find the time for me.
Yeah.
I think we've been talking about doing this for a while now.
For some time.
And I
Yeah.
blame
And
myself.
you've been, yeah, it's all your fault.
I blame myself.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming.
No problem.
So, generally, as I was briefly explaining before we started the conversation,
Yeah.
I really want to know more about you on a
Okay.
personal level.
Okay.
So
We're getting personal.
we're getting very personal. So feel
Okay.
free to share what you are comfortable with sharing.
Okay.
But just to start with, and I generally start with where you grew up, and we go into maybe school, varsity, and then where you are
Okay.
now. So do you mind sharing where Ekene comes from?
Yes. I will share. So, my name is Ekene Eze. I'm from the southeast region of Nigeria. That's where I grew up. That's where I went to, my preliminary educational years.
Okay.
And after that, I did go to university in my state. So I'm from Enugu State, by the way,
Okay.
in Nigeria. So we have like a state university, Enugu State University of Science and Technology. That's where I went. Yeah, and that's like a little bit of
About
my
you.
background. Yeah.
And family, do you have siblings?
I do have siblings. So I come from a family of 5 boys.
Oh, wow.
We have no girls.
No girls.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I have no sisters.
So you guys were stressing your mom.
Oh, we
For
did.
real.
We did. So my mom was raising 5 boys, and yeah, it wasn't easy.
Oh, wow. And well, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then you decided you grew up in, what's the village, the place you grew up? Is it a village?
Enugu State. So
You
yes,
call it
my
a state.
village is a village in Enugu State.
Okay, okay.
So I did my university in the state capital.
Okay.
And after that, I moved to Lagos.
Okay. So then let's talk about, you went to University of Sciences. So
Yes.
why that university, and why the program you started doing?
Okay, so I did a chemical engineering for 5 years in the university, actually. So when I was growing up, I wanted to be a medical doctor, and then eventually I wanted to be a pilot.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I know. But yes, when none of that worked out the way I had planned, I also had a little bit of a footballing career.
Okay.
Yeah, I played a lot of football. I thought I was going to go professional. I did actually pass the Barcelona Academy.
Wow.
They came to Nigeria to recruit some, I can't remember how long ago now, and I was part of the people that were picked out of that to go, but I didn't end up going. That's another story.
No, I want to hear it, a little bit about it. Why didn't you?
This is like further up the timeline of my story.
Yeah.
So this is after university. I
Okay.
went to Lagos. So this happened. I think we just couldn't afford it.
Oh, yeah.
I did
Okay.
pass the academy. I was selected to go. We needed to pay some visa fees and some other, admin fees that I couldn't find a good way to raise the money, and I just didn't go. I didn't really take it seriously enough
Okay.
to make a big deal out of it. I don't think I told my parents even.
What do you mean?
Yeah. I was staying with my uncle in Lagos at the time, so I never bothered to tell my parents. I had my whole academic career thing going,
Okay.
so
You-
I didn't feel like it was important enough to
Okay.
go disturb my parents about it. So I didn't make it a big deal, but I did pass. I could have been playing with Messi
Wow.
and at the, right now.
Because
But
I was gonna ask, didn't that, like, the fact that you couldn't go,
Yeah.
didn't that demoralize you or anything? But it sounds like
No.
you really didn't care.
No, it didn't because it wasn't. I mean, if I was kind of like growing myself as a footballer and trying to build a career, and that's what I was focusing on, it would have probably had that kind of impact on me. But I was mostly doing my studies and just playing football on the side. So when that didn't work out, I just kept on doing what I was doing.
we move.
Yeah, it was it was like we move.
Okay. And
Yeah.
growing up, how would people describe you? Were you like a disciplined child or naughty?
I was stubborn, but also very disciplined.
Okay.
So I think I probably the one that stressed out my parents the most out of
Really?
all of us. But I always kind of like had a safety net with my grandmother. So
Oh, okay.
even when I misbehave or I don't run the errands or I don't do anything, she kind of always has my back.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
good.
So I was very disciplined. Like in school, I was usually maybe the class prefect, or I just have one role or the other in class where I have to kind of like be very disciplined. And
Okay.
I didn't have I didn't have a lot of friends.
Really?
Yeah, especially in the university. I didn't have a lot of friends in the university because I was usually, sitting in front of the class, I minding my business, focusing on my books. I was very nerdy at the
those
time.
nets.
Yes.
That would remind the lecturers if when are we submitting?
Yeah.
Can you come down?
Yeah. Yeah. So people didn't really like me so much.
And were your parents strict? I tend to think Nigerian parents are very strict.
They are very strict.
Yeah.
Nigerian parents by default are strict.
Yeah.
Mine were a bit more strict because they were raising 5 boys, so they had to be to keep us in line. And my dad both my parents were teachers.
Okay.
So we kind of like read a lot of books, and my household growing up was very academic.
Yeah.
One of my aunties, she's also a professor in the university that I was attending. So it was very academic, we had to be.
You have no choice but to also, until be reporting at home.
100%, yeah. And she would pass through, while I was in university, she's a professor in a different department. So she would often pass through my classroom, and she would look in, and I'll try to keep myself composed.
Okay, so you did mechanical engineering.
I did chemical engineering.
Oh, chemical.
Yeah, I did chemical engineering. Funny that I didn't end up doing anything as a chemical engineer.
Okay.
At the time, my goal was I'm going to graduate as a chemical engineer. I'm going to get a job in an oil company or something like that. None of that happened.
Okay, what happened then?
So, I figured after university, when I moved to Lagos, I was doing my NYSC program. It's a program you have to do in Nigeria after graduating for 1 year, where you spend 1 year serving your country, basically. Yeah. So during that process, I kind of just didn't see how I would, get to where I wanted to be, even with my degree as a chemical engineer. So at the time, one of my cousins was learning, he studied computer science in school. So he was doing a couple of programming, building websites and stuff. And that was, fascinating. So even prior to moving to Lagos, I had already started learning what he was doing, and, he was putting me through. And it was I really liked it. So I could build something and, get on my computer, build a small thing, show it to my mom, show it to my friends. Everybody will be like, "Oh my God, you did that!" It's, and I came from I didn't study that.
Yeah.
It was just like learning on the side, watching tutorials and trying to do what other people are doing. So because I really enjoyed doing that, building something, being creative, and, thinking of what would be an exciting thing to build and show off.
Yeah.
And then having the ability to go build that thing. So it got me really excited. So when I did finish my NYC, actually during the time I was doing my NYC, I started learning a bit more professionally.
Okay.
So I started with Android development, how to build mobile apps that run on Android phones, and I would build a small game. Sometimes I build a calculator, and I just wanted to show off the cool things I was working on. So the joy of that, and my cousin who was already doing that very well and making some money out of it, got me really excited. And he would always tell me the prospects of it, like, if you do XYZ thing, you're gonna make this money, and it's in dollars, it's not in naira,
You were calculating, converting.
I was doing all the maths, how rich I'm going to be. So that's how I kind of pivoted from being a chemical engineer, because I had already registered with the National Association of Chemical Engineers in Nigeria. I had a certification and everything, but I felt like I had a bit more future and with programming and software development, because I felt like that is what kind of excited me more. And that's how I wanted to identify myself.
Okay.
I didn't want to go through because honestly, one of the discouraging things about chemical engineering, I would say, in Nigeria, is that there's no direct path from being a graduate to getting a job. Usually you need to know someone that knows someone that recommends you. I mean, barely would you see a job opening that says, "Hey, we're hiring a chemical engineer," right? So there's limitation in that regard, but also because I was really excited about programming, and I just went that path.
And looking back, are you still okay with the fact that you let it go, or do you sometimes think, I should have maybe?
Oh no! I'm so happy I let it go. I think it's one of the best decisions I ever made.
Okay, then let's go, because I can kind of understand why you'd feel that way, because I think you're very successful in your space. But let's go back to when I go through your LinkedIn profile, you've been around.
I have been
you've
around.
Been doing the most.
Yes.
So can you give a highlight of some of the things you've done that you enjoyed, and also maybe some of the things that you did do, but maybe there were lessons there that you needed to learn. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's you did go through my LinkedIn, didn't you? Yeah. I've had quite the journey. After learning for some time, there's this company called Andela in Nigeria. At the time, it was a big company. They partnered with Google to train software engineers out of Africa. I was part of the program. When I completed the program, I was doing very well. So I started writing, talking about the things that I'm building, things I'm working on, posting that on social media. I had a very active Twitter account at the time. If you were a software engineer back in the day, you needed to be on Twitter, otherwise nobody knows what you're working on. So I was very active there. I was writing blog posts and making videos and speaking at conferences and hosting meetups. I actually did create a meetup that I think has the largest number of Android developers in Nigeria. It was called Android Nigeria at the time. We had a lot of people. I got Andela to sponsor me for our first event. I think they gave me 50,000 naira at the time. Wow. It was so small money. But yeah, we did that. It was going quite well. And the thing is, part of the way that you get successful with tech in general, especially coming out of Nigeria, is being very visible and being vocal with what you do. So I was doing that. I started getting a lot of following on Twitter, building like kind of like a community of people that know me and people that I follow as well. And eventually, my work started getting interest. People would reach out to me, hey, I saw your blog post on XYZ thing. Would you write one for us? We will pay you and stuff like that. So I would make money just writing blog posts and speaking at conferences and stuff like that. Eventually, I got contracted to work with this company that has like a blog, like a proper blog. So they pay content creators to write on the platform. I think they'll pay you like $100 at a time. It was a huge amount of money. This was probably
so the math you were doing back then were math.
It was coming together, So I was like, if I could write 5 articles in 1 month, that'd be $500. Looked like a lot of money. So I was very excited to do that, but of course you don't get to write 5 articles in a month. It just never happens. So that's how I started, kind of like, I think that was like my first official kind of job. It wasn't like a proper employment because they didn't hire me in the company, but it was contractual and it stayed for a long time. So I could, piggyback off it, like, this is what my experience so far. So I was working with them. I can't remember for how long. So that was my start. That was my going from 0 to 1 in tech. Then from there, it's been okay. I don't know if you want to hear the story of how I got my first actual job.
Yes, because I was about to ask, did you ever land a proper job, or have you always been doing your own things?
Yes. So the thing I just described kind of led to my first actual job. So because I'd been very popular with what I'm doing and talking and putting it out there, and also the company that I started working with and speaking at conferences, I am delivering talks, I'm making videos. When this company called Flutterwave, it's one of the biggest fintechs out of Africa, actually. I think it's a unicorn now. It's like, $1 billion or something. So the CEO was looking for developer advocates. And I think my name came up in the conversation. Somebody recommended me. And a couple of my friends, actually, because we were just like some of us who were really popular at the time doing this thing. So he put a call across to us, like called me as well. I remember that day I was at Festac in Lagos. I was in a supermarket shopping, and my phone rings, and I'm like, picked up, hello. It's like, hey, this is the CEO of Flutterwave. Maybe would you like to come to talk to us at the office on Monday? I'm like, oh my God. I would love to come.
I'm coming. What do you mean? When?
Yeah, you came highly recommended. We'd like to have a chat. Good. So actually, my first ever job I got as a phone call, and then I got to the office. We went through a round of interview. I spoke with Eze, the engineering manager at the time. Had a couple of follow-up conversations, and then I joined the company. That was my first developer advocacy job, which kind of like been the title of my job up until now. So 5-6 years later, I'm still doing developer advocacy.
Wow. And do you get mentors along the way? I know you mentioned is it your brother
Yes.
or your cousin?
Yeah.
Do you get any other mentors along the way?
Yes. So the nature of the job is that to some extent your manager or who you report to offers mentorship. So they kind of like guide you, guide your career, guide your work. And that's been very like instrumental for me to the point that I kind of started my own mentorship program as well.
Okay.
Just because I really enjoyed how the people who has looked after me professionally did a very good job. They helped me grow in a lot of different ways. Shout out to Sarah Dresner. Sarah, if you can hear me, you know, I genuinely feel like I couldn't have gone so far if it weren't for the people that I was reporting to and how they mentored me through that early stages. So yeah, mentorship comes with the role. If you are lucky, usually you can get shitty managers and they don't care about you. So, yeah, but I've been lucky in that regard. All the managers I've had up until this point has been wonderful.
Okay. Then you eventually because I want to spend a lot of time on what you are currently doing.
Yeah.
You eventually then go and do your own things.
Yeah.
Right. So let's start there.
Yeah.
How does that
I'm still fully employed because I love being a developer advocate. I love helping developers, build cool stuff. But along the line, I think sometime last year, I've been living in Dubai for over 4 years now. And Dubai is like the heartbeat of real estate, right? So I started getting really interested and I wanted to, participate in that industry. I live here, so it's just kind of fits that I do that. So I started this company called First Split, which is a real estate company that allows people to collaboratively invest in off-plan properties. I liked off-plan because it's a bit cheaper than already existing apartments. And usually the problem that young people who don't have a lot of millions in their bank account have with participating in real estate is that usually you don't have all the money. So what I thought we could do is allow 5 or more people to contribute the whole sum, buy the property and just keep investing in it and take the returns that come out of it, or sell the property for capital appreciation later on. So it's been like a whole new learning experience for me. So it's a different industry. I had to talk to different kinds of people. I had to go in different kinds of meetings. So it was for the first time out of my adult life where I feel like I'm getting into something completely new that I had no experience about before. And it's been fun.
It's been good.
Thank you.
Okay, and then
I like this your cocktail, by the
way. Listen, don't tell the story behind those cocktails. Just enjoy it.
Okay. It is nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You every now and then you would mention like blockchain.
Yes.
In conversation.
Yes.
So can we talk about that? First, and I think about a week or so after our last network thingy, I asked someone, can you just break down what blockchain is for me? And they kind of explained it. So do you want to explain that and your involvement and what got your interest there?
Yeah. So at the moment, the internet is kind of like divided between Web 2 and Web 3. Web 2 is the regular internet that we know of, the social media platforms like Twitter, Facebook, all of that. And then the Web 3 is the evolution of Web 2, where we're trying to get to the point where you're in charge and in control of all your digital footprint, all your data, everything belongs to you, and you can choose who has access to it or don't. Blockchain is the technology that makes that possible, that powers that. It's like one place that everyone's owns their identity, owns their data, and everything is also public. I can look at your addresses and stuff. So blockchain lets us make Web3 a possibility. I know that's not very helpful to you.
Like I hear you.
Yeah.
Continue.
But it's I've had the opportunity to kind of like go through both. So getting into tech, I was mostly in Web 2. After Flutterwave, I worked with Netlify and some other Web 2 companies where I still worked as a developer advocate. I was building. I was also helping developers as well build the things that they want to build with our products or with the APIs that we provided. But after that, I got into Web 3 I joined, I think my first Web3 role was joining Collabland some maybe 3 years ago as the director of developer relations. It was new to me at the time because I had been serving a different audience, Web2 audience, and now like I have to serve a Web3 audience. I had to understand, what they cared about, how they felt about security, about a lot of learnings for me there. So it was a really nice experience. I kind of started learning about the blockchain. That was at the time I started learning about the blockchain, how it worked and how developers were building on it, what protocols they had, stuff like that. It's been a good experience so far. I'm still in Web3 now.
Wow. Yeah. But immediately when you talk about you have your own identity, everyone knows who's on the platform, you can check addresses. I'm automatically thinking security.
Yes. Security is super important. It's the key factor because the problem that we have with Web2 is centralization. Like all of us, right? All our data, for instance, our WhatsApp chats, it's stored on Facebook's server.
Yes.
If the server goes down, you lose all your contacts, you lose all your messages, you have no control or no access to it. And then Web3 wants to say, hey, what if you have control of everything, all of your data, and regardless of anybody's server going down, your data would be your data and you can take it off, put it wherever you want. But also the challenge that presents is the issue of security, because if you want to have a public ledger that is accessible to people and everything is out in the open, then you have to find a way to make it safe and secure so that people don't lose access to their money and their data and stuff. So it's a tricky situation.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, like a compromise.
And if someone is like watching or listening and they want to get into your space. Let's forget about chemical engineering. Yes. Oh my God, yes. What advice would you give them?
When you say getting into my space, like getting into tech in general, or
being a developer.
I mean, you probably just have to start from learning. You can go the traditional route of, getting a computer science degree, studying computer engineering in school, which is where they will teach you now all the principles of computer science and everything. You can also learn on your own, which is, I think, majority of the people I know basically learned on their own. It's just like any other skill. You can learn on YouTube, you can teach yourself, you can read stuff online, and then you practice what you learn. So it's not, it is complicated because there's a lot of zeros and ones, of course. So it's not very beginner friendly. If you come across it or if you look at my code base, you'll be like, oh my God, what is that? It will look like gibberish to you, but if you start learning, like eventually from step 0 to 1, it starts to make sense. So if anyone wants to get started being a software developer, just start taking the courses. Eventually you get good.
And where do you think the future is? Because now everything you're doing, you're like, okay, will this be even around in 20 years? What is it gonna look like?
I think the future is artificial intelligence. Yes. Just based off of, the direction the entire tech industry is heading, like that is what is leading the charge now. 2 years ago, it was, blockchain and NFTs. You would see a lot of buzz coming around with Web2 technology. What
happened to the NFTs? Are they still there?
They are still there. They are silenced at the moment. You remember when it was NFTs everywhere, right? Like it was the trending thing and that was driving the industry at the time. Now it's artificial intelligence, right? You see a lot of AI agents coming up, LLMs, a ton of coding support. Like there's AI agents that can code fast. Of course, they can code faster than every human, but they are very intelligent now. People are starting to build agents that would be software developers. That maybe instead of hiring me to do the job, you can hire the AI agents, I mean, I feel like we're not there yet, but we're not so far away.
We're not very far.
We're not so far away, I think eventually so that is what is the future now. I don't know if it will continue to be, or maybe something else will come up, we're nearing AGI, I don't know. But that is at the moment what is like driving the focus of the tech industry.
And I guess the fear with everyone when we talk of artificial intelligence and all of those, like, oh, am I still going to be relevant? And I always argue, yes, there's always going to be a space for humans, I hope. Otherwise, we'll go to Mars. Start again.
Elon will take all of us to Mars. Yeah, it's a valid concern, being skeptical about will AI replace all of us and make us irrelevant. I do think it can. I just don't think we're there yet, right? But at the pace and the rate at which we are growing and getting there, eventually we can see that happen. I think it's kind of starting to happen in the manufacturing industry, where you see that these robotic arms assembling and disassembling cars and taking most of the job, to be honest. So I think we're not quite there where like it becomes a major concern, like people are massively losing their jobs and because of AI. We've not gotten there, but to think that would not be a possibility is just going to be
you're naive.
You're being naive or you're deluding yourself. I think eventually we will get there. Of course, there are jobs that require human interactions that AI cannot take over, like your job, for instance. HR cannot, AI cannot HR a company.
I mean, to an extent, some of the things are now automated. You're no longer doing the same things. But I agree, there will still be.
There's a lot of human contact that is required in that role.
So I'm safe.
You are safe, I think, in my opinion.
For
I think
a few more years.
Yeah, because there are jobs like the success of that job depends on how people were able to relate together, and that it needs a human touch, kind of. And I don't think AI can help you there.
Okay. Yeah. Anything else you want to share from a professional space? Because I want to go into more. What do you do for fun?
Let's get there. I mean, it's a better conversation. I'm tired of the professional one.
Okay, so what do you get up to? Also, why Dubai? Why did you move to Dubai and
no
not
taxes?
Full stop, nothing else.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the longer answer is that my friends were here at the time that I moved. So it was convenient. I wanted to be with my friends, and I had just changed jobs. I'd gotten a new job, and I just needed to, be in a more comfortable, convenient environment. Because I had challenges in Nigeria with stability of power supply and just a couple of other things. But mainly because my friends were here. My cousin that I talked about earlier on, he had moved to Dubai at the time, so he was here. William, I came here with 3 of my friends as well. So it was just a good move at the time to be closer to my friends who were all kind of like working in tech companies, doing similar things or almost the same things. So it was just a good move before I found out about the tax.
And then you're like,
and I'm like,
better.
Yes, even better. Yeah.
Okay. Then fun. What do you get up to?
What do I get up to? I mean, you already know I like cocktails. So, I have a mini bar where I make cocktails. I picked up a couple things during the COVID time. Cocktails is one of them.
Yeah.
I started learning because I was really bored. I lived alone. I was just in my house. Eventually, I got a dog. I needed company. So I was losing my mind at some point. So I was picking up, like, what are things that I could learn just sitting on my bed, on my couch, and, like, what skill can I pick up? I learned a couple of other programming languages, of course, but this is something that I kind of took really good interest in. So I bought all the, cocktails. Oh my God. I feel like I spent a lot of money on this hobby, I bought tons of glasswares. I bought everything that a proper mixologist has. I have it. I have it. Yeah. Because I wanted to really do it well. And I did it well. I think my friends are proud of me now when I make cocktails for them. Yeah, so it's something that I like to do. I did that this weekend. I made a couple of cocktails. I will still post that on Instagram. I play video games. It's another thing I get up to.
Fortnite.
I play
all of
Fortnite.
those.
Yes, yeah. You've probably seen me post
that. Is it Minecraft?
Minecraft, yes.
Minecraft. Yeah.
Yeah. I play a lot of that. Not as much these days. I don't actually know why. I've just been very busy. But that is something that I also, spend a lot of my time on. I like to go out on the yard. Yeah.
And traveling.
And
Tell us about your
I travel. I know.
Your recent trip.
Yeah. I did travel. I hadn't traveled all through the year. I think consciously because I was kind of settling down. But eventually when I got like 2 weeks off of work to travel, and then I traveled. I went to Europe and just toured around for a little bit. So those are some of the things that I get up to when I'm not working.
And what's next? What's next for you?
What's next for me is I'm just going to try to put more time and effort into First Split because I haven't. It has kind of taken the backseat for a long time. Like I told you, I started last year. We've made a lot of progress, at least with the tech and with the business setup kind of things. But I haven't like started looking at properties and just listing them and having investors start. So that's what I'm hoping to get into next, or at least put a little bit more time and effort into it, so that we can finally kick it off and have people participate. Looking forward to that.
Okay. And you said, give us the full, if someone wants to, after this one, to go and check it out, what's the full, is it a website?
Yes.
You have a LinkedIn profile?
There is a website at the moment where people can check it out. It's www.firstsplit.com. Maybe you can put it on the screen when you do the edits. Yeah. At the moment, you can definitely check it out, see what it's all about, create an account if you want to. But there aren't any properties at the moment listed. Our property is still kind of like in an Excel sheet where we're managing it, manually managing it and, comparing prices and all. But yeah, that is a good place to kind of like get an idea of what it is, what the returns would look like, how to invest. We eventually will have like the investment calculation on there. So you can, do calculations on if I invest 200K inside this property, how much do I look to make in a month, in a year and stuff like that. So it's I think probably the next time that I'll be here it will be live.
No, I trust that. I know you work hard, and I'm sure we're gonna see the fruits. Okay, and then is there anything you wanted us to touch on that I am forgetting?
Yes, I don't know if your audience knows that you work at McLaren. I've been trying to get you to give me a car.
How did I know you are going to say that?
Yes, so everyone who's watching, she works at McLaren. I don't have a sports car. I want one. Let's talk about that.
First of all, guys, I don't work for the cars. And I keep on telling him this. I don't work for the cars. I work in construction. So unfortunately... And I can't even give you a property to list on your profile.
Right. That would have been another good one.
No, listen, I can help you to build and design if you want to start developing apartments and stuff. But yeah.
So you're just trying to not give me a car.
You saw what I drive. So what do you mean? I can give you a McLaren. Yeah. I wanted also. But and anything else you want us?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to talk a little bit about our forum.
Yes,
it's I think it's a really good way to meet other people.
Yes.
That's how we met.
Yes.
Yeah. So for people who are serious with life and who knows what they are doing, because Jason will ask you that. Yes. Check out the Jason and Joko forum. It's really nice for Africans, and really I think at this point it's actually everyone who's just interested in joining. You can
check
it out and join us. We have yacht parties every month, I think. It's really nice. Really nice. Yeah.
And I think one of the reasons I started this platform is specifically for me coming from South Africa. There's a lot of misconceptions. Misperceptions about black people in the UAE and the kind of work that we do. And if you're a woman, what are you really doing in Dubai? So I really wanted to create a platform where we can change that kind of perception about what we do. And, you hear, you're from Africa. Are you... in some form of bad business, no, we here doing the right things, and it's important that we share and communicate that.
Yeah. And it's good because being in that forum kind of brings you together with people who are doing meaningful work as well. And you can be proud of it, you know, because we do have a bad reputation of not, you know, people just always questioning and doubting the authenticity of what we do. So I like that. You can, if you look at the profiles of people there, you'll be impressed, you know, and you'll be happy to, you know, see people like yourself doing really good work, working in reputable places, you know, representing the continent in a good way.
Just inspire. I think every time we have a session, when I go back, I'm like, girl, you need to step it up. You need to do more. You know, there's people like really working hard. I mean, I also enjoy having fun, but you know, you need to balance the two.
Yeah, it's good. I really like it. The conversations are usually very insightful for the people you meet, the chats we have. I do think it's good. I like that you started this the podcast. I told you I wanted to do one before and I didn't, so I was happy that you did.
You should because you know another segment, and now we are just derailing. Another segment I want to do is a platform where multiple people are just talking about anything and everything.
Oh, that'd be fun.
So maybe you should be a constant.
That'd be fun.
No monies yet. There's no.
There's no sponsorships yet.
There's no sponsorship. We're not making money. We're just doing this because we love it. But maybe we should talk about it some more.
I did actually build a website for it.
Really?
I was going to start a podcast.
Are you gonna?
I was going to.
Are you still gonna do it? No.
Maybe.
You should.
Yeah, I told you I have two SM7B mics. So part of my job is also content creation. So I have to teach people how to write code, how to do some of this, how to use the tools that we provide. So I have like a whole recording set. I have the gear, I have the mic, I have the cameras, I have all of that. So sometimes I want to repurpose that to like a podcast kind of setting where I'm not just recording a tutorial and writing code, but just chatting with people and, you know, talking about what's going on, adulthood, how do you get around living in Dubai, you know, kind of conversations that, you know, other people can find helpful. Maybe we should still do that.
Maybe let's do that. I like, you see, I like this kind of conversations. And talking about life in Dubai, if someone was moving here for the first time, what advice would you give them?
Interesting. For the first time, I would say rent a cheap place. One mistake I see people do is they get to Dubai, they, you know, get an apartment in the IFC and they spend all their money on it, you know, and then you just keep struggling. You never get your head above water because bills and rent and utilities are taking all of your money. So when you move to Dubai, try to get as little an apartment as possible so you're not blowing all your money on rent. Another thing is don't run solo. Try to find people of like minds. Try to find a community that you can be part of. It's helpful. People help each other in such settings. If you're religious, you can be part of a church because then it provides you people of like minds that you can, if you're more social, be part of a social group, you know, just don't do it all on your own. Is one thing that I would also advise anyone who's moving really anywhere new, is just to try to be part of any kind of community, have a sense of, you know, people looking out for you. That has helped me a lot as well. Yeah, so those are the two things I think I would immediately just say off the top of my mind.
I like the choose where you stay one, because that's really important.
Trust me, it comes from experience.
So I was lucky, and everyone always laugh at me because, you know, I stay in Dubai South, which is a fairly new development, so still very much affordable, a bit isolated. I mean, every now and then I wake up, I'm like, what are you doing?
I didn't know you stay in Dubai South.
I say, I stay in. Everyone is always joking and saying, why do you stay in Abu Dhabi? And I'm always like, leave me alone.
Really? I mean, I just rented actually before I got here, I went to sign a new lease for my apartment in Business Bay.
Really?
But I'm currently staying in Dubai South. I came here from Dubai South.
You are lying.
No.
What?
I moved to Dubai South in March of this year.
You are laughing.
I told you I learned my lesson because
Yeah.
before that I lived in DIFC Shakeside Road. I've been in all the big
Yeah.
places and I spent a lot of money. And eventually I'm like, I have to calm down. You know,
Yeah,
I'm
wow.
giving these people a shit ton of money. And,
Yes.
so I moved to Dubai South in March of this year, which is where I'm still at. So I will move to Business
Why are
Bay
you
in
moving
January.
back? Because I'm also like,
Why am I moving?
why are
where?
you moving out of Dubai South?
My reason is really distance. I think it's quite far.
It's so far. It's
Honestly,
far.
that's the short answer. It's
Yeah.
just very
I
far
love
from
it.
everywhere.
I love it, but it's
like
far.
I like it. It's far. It's quiet.
Yes,
It's really
it's
nice.
nice.
Everything
It's
is
homely.
calm. It's far from, but it's so freaking far from everywhere.
It is. And
Like
if you
anywhere
like
is
being
20,
down to-
30 minutes away from you. Anywhere. So, it is very far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and another very personal question.
Okay.
Are we gonna be going
is
to
interesting.
Nigeria for a wedding anytime soon? I mean, we're getting old, child.
Yeah. We'll see. I guess. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see. I
No pressure.
yeah, there's no pressure. But yeah, I think
I'm sure if your
think
mom
we'll
is
see.
watching this, will be like, yes.
She'll be
ask
like,
that
yes,
question.
yes. Thank you for asking him that. You know. Yeah, but yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for coming. It felt like, just a normal catch up.
Yeah. of
So
course.
thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you
for
for
the
having
time.
me. This was a nice chat.
Yeah.
I always
And we're
enjoy stuff.
definitely gonna do something again together. I think
Yeah.
if you like the space.
Yeah, I do like it. It's really nice. It's really nice. Thank
And
you.
thank you for complimenting my cocktail.
You did a good job.
That it's not moving, then it's telling me it's not really that good. But thank you. Cheers.